Hi friends, in this video I'm going to explain you one of the very important question that will be posed when you go for an ETL interview. So as I said in my earlier videos, there are a couple of 4 to 5 things that they are going to question you on. One is on Informatica tool related questions, one is SQL related questions, PL/SQL questions, Unix questions, and another really important one is data warehousing concepts. They're definitely going to question you on those concepts. In that, the first and foremost that they will ask you is on the schemas part. So we have three schemas available: star schema, snowflake schema, and fact constellation schema. Leave the third one, they'll not ask you much about it, but they'll ask you mostly on star and snowflake schema. And on these, apart from asking questions on related to star and snowflake, another really very important question that they're going to ask you is which schema to prefer when we wanted to design our data warehouse. So like ETL, what does it do? It will integrate data from different source systems, and it is ultimately going and dumping into some data warehouse. That data is going into a data warehouse. So a data warehouse, so it should have some planning. A schema is nothing but a plan kind. So which schema to prefer to your data warehouse? So they will ask you, and which is better among these two, star or snowflake schema? So to decide which is better among the two, we have certain parameters. So as you can see on the screen, these are the five most prominent parameters. So according these five, we should decide, basically they decide which schema to go with the data warehouse. So I'll explain about these parameters and which one will suit for each parameter, and accordingly we will decide upon it. So the first one is readability. Prior to this, you must go and visit my other videos of what a star schema is and what a snowflake schema is, and then you can look into this video. Then you will understand which schema is better. So in star schema, we have limited number of tables, and as there are limited number of tables, so we have limited number of joins. So the query structure and the design structure will also be simpler in star schema. Whereas in yours, because star is designed in such a way that you will have redundant data, it is not normalized. Whereas in your snowflake schema, you will have more number of tables, and as there are more number of tables, you will have more number of joins. Your query structure will be very complex because your data is in denormalized form in your snowflake. That's the reason you're having many number of tables, and obviously when there are more number of tables, you'll have more number of joins. So now star is in such a way that it is very simple with limited joints, whereas your snowflake is in a complex structure. So obviously, coming to readability part, star schema will be the best choice. So the next one is maintainability. Maintainability is something which is heavily dependent on the amount of redundant data. As I said, star schema has more redundant data because your tables are not normalized. When they are not normalized, you will have more redundant data. So obviously, and when coming to snowflake schema, you will have less redundant data. So the more redundancies that we have, the more number of places that maintenance needs to take place. So now you can understand which one would be better. So coming to maintainability, Snowflake will be the best option, whereas Star Schema you will have more redundant data, so maintainability is not a better choice for Star. The third one is performance. Performance, if we go with Star Schema, you have again you have less number of tables, So your query will be very simpler with less number of joins. So whenever you query it on a star schema, your data retrieval will be very fast because your query structure is also simpler, and you will be from a limited number of tables you are going to extract data, so your data retrieval will be very faster. Whereas when you go your snowflake schema, you have more number of tables, so more redundant data and more number of joins in your query structure. So the data retrieval will be slow in snowflake schema. So now you can understand performance wise, star will be a better option than a snowflake. So apart from these three, there are other two that needs to be considered, which is number of dimensions in our dimension table and the size of data. So then in star schema, the number of foreign keys are less. You have less dimensions in our dimension table. So when we are designing and when we want the end result is more of a data more of a data mart kind. Data mart is nothing but relating to some specific department. For example, we are having data related to a specific department in a manufacturing company, let's say sales or marketing department. When we are to maintain data of that particular sales department or particular marketing department, that is just called a data mart, one specific function or one specific department. Whereas data warehouse is something, a combination of all the data marts like sales department, marketing department, finance department, HR department. Combination of all the data is a data warehouse. So in snowflake schema, you will have since you each dimension will have a separate table, and you have more number of tables in your snowflake schema. Obviously there are more number of foreign keys, so obviously there are more number of dimensions in our dimension table. So here based according to our requirement, according to case by case, we need to decide which schema to use. So if there are less number of dimensions, star would be better. If there are more number of dimensions, snowflake is better. For example, if we take and if the requirement is that each dimension needs to have a separate another table. For example, let's take name is a column in a particular table, and if we have to separately maintain that data relating to that name column, for example, first name, last name, and middle name. And another example would be date dimension, where you will have separate again year, month, day of the week, day of the month. So there you need to again maintain a separate table for that particular dimension. So now less number of dimensions, star is better. More number of dimensions, snowflake is better. Now comes a size of your data. As I said, if your data is simpler and your end result is more of a data mart kind, and if the relationships between your data are very simple with less many to many relationships, then obviously star would be better. So if your data is very complex and if you have more number of tables, and if there are too many relationships, then obviously snowflake is better. So based on all these overall parameters, I whenever your end result is more of a data mart kind, then go with the star schema. And whenever your end result is more of a data warehouse kind, then you can go with snowflake schema. So if you explain them these parameters and the way how we need to pick which schema for what requirements, if you explain them in this particular way, they'll be satisfied and you'll pass through the question. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, please give a like and share. Thank you.